Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is actually a review from 9th grade. We're going to be talking about how we determine whether or not a relation is a function. Do you guys remember that word from 9th grade? So we're going to be talking a lot about domain and range as well. Do you remember those words? You said no when I said that. Okay, so if you don't remember, this is going to be a big wake-up call. You absolutely need to know how to determine whether or not something is a function, as well as whether or not it's one-to-one. We'll talk about that at the end of the lesson. You guys ready to go? Turn the page. Okay, so we define a function as a relation in which each element of my domain being my x values, is paired with exactly one element of my range being my y value. So again, I'm going to say this. Domain is what? X. Range is? Again, domain is what? Range is? Don't forget it. Okay? So, next page. So we're going to use our ray tool. You guys haven't learned how to do this, so this is going to be new. And we're going to map each element of my domain, those are my values on the left, to an element in my range, my values on my right. So if we're thinking in terms of creating a function, what can we not have happen to my domain over here? Well, it's definitely going to stay the same. We're not going to change any of my values. Say it again. It can't repeat. So that means I can't take an element of my domain and map it to more than one element of my range, right? Because what happens if we do that? Is it a function? No. Okay, so we're not mapping my domain, any elements of my domain, to more than one element in my range. Okay, you guys all right with that? Yeah, I had one person say yeah. What about the rest of you? Okay. So what I want you to do is you're going to swipe and click on this bottom half of your page so that that piece is highlighted. Once you've done that, I want you to hit your menu key, please. You're going to go to points and lines, and you're going to select, you could select segment, ray, whatever you choose. Okay. Menu, points and lines, segment. You need to swipe and click down here first. Menu. Okay. So I'm going to map one of them. I'll show you guys how it's done. You do the rest. Ready? All you have to do in order to set your segment is you click next to whatever element in the domain you would like to start with, and then you click next to whatever element in the range that you would like to end with. So I'd like you to take your tool, and I'd like you to map your elements in your domain to elements in your range so that you're showing a function. Okay? So I'll give you a second to do. Okay, so let's take a peek. Let's see what we did here. Whoop. Did I do it? Do it again. I didn't mean to do that. All right, so okay, so I actually have some nice ones here. I got some crazy looking ones too, but I got some nice ones. I got segments flying all over the place. Okay, let's look at this one and this one, and I want another different one. This one's different. And I guess that's different too. Okay, so are they all different? Yeah, absolutely. Are they all functions? Sure, they are. How would I know if it wasn't a function? What would you see? Yeah, you would have a segment coming off of a domain more than once. So like that. That wouldn't be a function, right? Why? Yeah, because 0 is mapped to both 4 and 3. Then it wouldn't be a function. So do you guys see the difference? Can we move on? Excellent. I can't. Here we go. Hello. Okay, next page. All right, so in your own words, describe what you saw about the function. How did you know it was a function? Everybody's is going to be different. You're going to use your own explanations. Please use appropriate vocabulary when you do this, okay? A big part of this new curriculum is that you guys can write what is in your brains, okay, using appropriate vocabulary. So in your own words, how do you know that it's a function? Okay, so you cannot have an x value that maps to more than one value, y value. Instead of saying x and y, what should I be saying? Domain and range. So let's say it as you cannot have a domain, a value of the domain mapped to more than one value in your range. Agreed? Excellent. Next page. Okay, so we can also determine if a relation is a function by using a different notation. So here I have a set of points, right? So before I was mapping from one to the other. This is like showing if this had been mapping, excuse me, get the words out of my mouth today. This, right? Then I would have mapped to -2, 6, -10, 2, right? So this is what it looked like on the last page. So I'm just rewriting it a different way. Do I need to write 2 3s? Right, if I have my domain, if I have 2 the same values, I don't write it twice. What I would show when I mapped was -3 would go to -2, 3 would go to 6, -5 would go to -10, and then 3 would go to 2, right? So what do you notice about this automatically? It's not a function. So do I have to draw this mess, though? No. What do I need to look for? Look at my x values. Give me another word for x value, please. Domain. I need to look at my domain, right? What do I notice about my domain? I have 2 3s. So is this a function? Okay, so what is it that we're looking for? Yeah, repeating x values or repeating values in my domain. Good. You guys are quick today. All right, so let's look at this example. Is this relation a function? No, why not? There's 2 4s. Great job. All right, let's breathe through. Okay, so first one is a function, second one isn't. We notice the difference there. The one that is not a function has that repeating x value. Okay, so again, you can't have any repeating x's. Have I drilled it into your brain? All right, good. So let's think about this relation here. When we have a set of points, what can I do with that set of points? What have we done in the past with points? We graph them, right? So there's got to be a way graphically for us to tell whether or not a relation is a function. Agreed? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to use, bless you, we're going to use these points. We're going to graph them on a coordinate plane, and we're going to look at that graph and decide whether or not my relation is a function. Okay, so on the next page, I've got this nice graph for you, right? Go ahead and hit menu. Geometry. Menu, geometry, points and lines, and select point. You're going to use your point tool to plot those points. Okay, so you're going to count over on your grid and you're going to plot. How do you think you plot a point? Click. Okay, so just click. So if I wanted to plot -1 7, I'm going to go back 1, up 7, click, and it's going to drop that point. Okay, if you accidentally put it in the wrong spot, Control Z will get rid of it. If you want it back, Control Y. What? You don't need to. I'm sorry? Okay, so when you plotted your points, it should look like this, yes? Yes. All right, so if we're talking about whether or not this relation is a function, we knew if we looked at the domain, if we had a repeating value in our domain, it wasn't a function, right? So how can we look at this graphically and determine whether or not it's a function? I heard little things here and there. Speak up. Don't be shy. Vertical line test, you're remembering from 9th grade, right? What does the vertical line test do for us? How does it work? Yeah? Good. I'm going to draw a vertical line, and if that vertical line touches more than one point at any point on that coordinate plane, my relation is not a function, right? So if we look at our points here, do I have any point that is directly over the other? Where? 0, 3, and 0, 7, right here, right? So if I were to pass a vertical line through that, would it touch my relation in more than one place? So is this a function? No. Excellent. Great job, guys. All right. So in your own words, please use appropriate vocabulary. What do you notice about where the points are in relation to each other and in relation to the x and y axis? All right, so is our relation a function? No, we decided it wasn't, didn't pass that vertical line test. Okay, so again, what you guys just discovered was the vertical line test. So in your own words, notice this says, explain to me how the vertical line test works. I didn't ask you what the vertical line test tells us. I want to know how it works. So don't tell me the vertical line test tells us whether or not something's a function. I got that. I know. Explain to yourself how it works in your own words. Okay? Let's move on to the next page. All right, so on the next page, we've got an example of a graph. I've placed a vertical line on that graph. There is a point on that vertical line. See it right there? See the point? You guys know how to grab a point, right? Yeah. You're going to grab that point. You're going to drag it right to left. You're going to tell me, using that vertical line, whether or not this, what is this, by the way? Parabola. Give me another word. Quadratic is a function. Okay, so use that vertical line, drag it and move it, and you guys tell me, drag it, you got to grab the point, drag and move. Okay, is it a function? Yeah, absolutely. Is every single quadratic a function? Yeah. How about every linear? No, good. What kind of linear is not a function? Give me more than that. Give me an example of a linear function that is not a function, or linear relation that isn't a function, I guess. Yeah, right? Is that a function? No, why not? Yeah, the domain repeats and repeats and repeats. How many times does that domain repeat? Infinitely. So if I were to pass a vertical line through there, how many times would that vertical line touch that line? Infinitely. Okay, good. Nice job, guys. So this is a function. So I guess on the next page, I said, is this graph a function? Describe how you arrive at your answer. So, yeah, it's a function. Why? When I pass that vertical line through, does it ever touch the function more than once? Okay. Okay, and then the last question is just a basic question, and then we got to talk about one-to-one, which is not in this notes. You're going to have to write down. 2. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is something called a one-to-one function. Okay, a one-to-one function is where every element of my domain is mapped to exactly one element in my range, and vice versa. Okay, so every x goes to one y, every y goes to one x. So are we having any repeating x's or repeating y's? No. Okay, so every element in my domain maps to one element in my range. Can you read cursive? Okay, good. My kids last year could not. Huh, that's weird. Okay, so basically the key to that is no repeating x, no repeating y. So that's if you're looking at a set of points, right? Graphically, it must pass the vertical line test as well as the horizontal line test. Okay, and we'll look at some examples of those functions in just a moment. An example of a graph that would be one-to-one. Listen, you should always have x and y's and arrows. For the sake of time, I may not do that. Okay, is that one-to-one? Yes. Does it pass horizontal line test? Pass the vertical line test? Absolutely. How about this one? No. Why? Does not pass the horizontal line test. Crosses here and here. So this is a big no. Okay? How about this one? No. How about this one? No. We got it? So it's got to pass the vertical and the horizontal. Clear?
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. So again, well, straight line, either vertical or horizontal do not, diagonal do. Right? This first one did. These ones did not. This is still a straight line. Okay, I got you. All right, so no repeating x, no repeating y. 1 to 1, we're good, right? Functions, we're good. Homework is pages 9 and 10 tonight. It will be due tomorrow. Weekly project 2 will be due Monday. We're going to be talking about direct and inverse variation tomorrow. Do not put your things away. We are not done. Okay.